to me, had the biggest growth throughout the split because he had a really, really rough start of the season, had really bad Yasuo games and whatnot. Now, in his first game, he went like 4-3-4 on Kha'Zix against LMQ. The most recent game they played against Dignitas, pulled it back on Lee Sin, had a pretty good game. So it's another player I think has improved exceptionally well throughout the split, and I want to see how much more EG can grow.
Just had a tough game against Silent Spartan.
Yeah, he started out 0-3, got a couple kills back though. Well, here we go. First few picks and bans coming out. Shyvana, Nidalee removed away from CLG. Seraph losing his best pick. Link losing one of his most comfortable. Inox's Jax is gone, as is Altec's Twitch for good reason. I would not give Altec Twitch either.
Especially after his performance. Lulu being banned. Got to keep that away from Link, and you'd almost expect Soraka to be banned, but it's not. I don't know if EG actually plays Soraka, though, whether it's part of Pobelter's champion pool. It most definitely is part of Link's champion pool. And there's a heavily banned champion so far this weekend.
Gotta think what else is available. The Lee Sin from Inox top lane. There's a gigantic pool of junglers still up. None of them got banned out, so maybe you don't have to rush pick any of those. But you figure, you know, maybe top lane carries is a big deal for these guys. You know, the Soraka Yasuo debate is an interesting one. Again, I agree with what was said recently on the analyst desk, where it's pretty much a 50-50. So
yeah,
maybe the Soraka is worth grabbing early, depending on how you feel about the matchup. But EG definitely taking their time. Morgana, like, there's a lot of these roles that haven't been touched in bans at all, right? Like, maybe you take the S tier from that.
Definitely. With the Lulu, Nidalee ban mid lane, they're scattered around everywhere, too. 2 top lane, 2 mid lane, 2 bot lane. They actually give the LeBlanc to Pobelter, hoping they can assassinate whatever COG decides to pick.
Oh, true.
Speaking of mid lane assassins, though.
Yeah. Well, Kassadin, you know, Kassadin's actually fairly reliant on getting a rotation of spells out, and if you can silence them before you can get them all pressed,
yeah,
there's a good lead for you. But he has a basically instant cast magic damage shield. If you can hit the button before he gets silenced, he'll block most of the burst from Pobelter. Of course, LeBlanc will aim for other champions in team fights, but still, as far as a lane matchup goes, that's pretty good.
Well, they're just hovering it, not selecting it yet, which would generally show towards them not locking it in. But you never know with these tricky counter logic gaming fellows. There we go. After Moose Thresh, Lucian is off the board, so is Twitch, so they're forcing a more diverse AD carry matchup, therefore they don't have to pick them right away. And they get Dexter his Spider.
Okay, so of all the junglers in the world, Dexter goes for Elise early on. One to deny from Snoopy, one of his favorites, as well as getting it for himself. How good of plays can he make? Also Thresh going in with no support bans, so CLG showing their most important picks in these roles. I think, if nothing else, teams can take note and say these are what they're going to value with everything on the table.
I mean, they're also the picks that have the most overall utility and aren't necessarily that counterable. You don't think, oh, they picked Thresh. That means we can pick a support.
Try Morgana.
Yeah.
I typically see that, for what it's worth.
It's true. Morgana's pretty good against Thresh.
Well, Snoopy also going to keep the hover going on Kha'Zix. The interesting thing is that's actually a flex pick because Inox has played that before, so you never know for certain, but I think these would be fairly smart picks for them. The top laner still not shown, nor the AD carries. With the top 2 off the board, they're like, yeah, we'll wait a while and go for counter picks, in both cases.
Counter picking is the name of the game here. After the first pick, LeBlanc. I mean, COG can do whatever they want with the mid lane pick. I wonder if they don't necessarily want to show their AD carry blind, but they're going to have to do something here. Do they save their top laner for the last pick, or do they save their AD carry for the last pick?
To me,
is the question.
To me, top lane makes the most sense if I'm just kind of thinking about it. If I don't know the champion pools, I don't know the strategies at play necessarily. You just got to figure, at this point, you see 3 champs on the enemy team, you can pick your AD carry.
Yeah.
Like, aside from fighting like Sivir vs Caitlyn, which is kind of a garbage matchup, like, you can pretty much go for whatever you want once you see, like, okay, I can deal with this.
We also know that against EG, it could be a top lane Kha'Zix. Inox has already played top lane Kha'Zix. And they do a Sivir, so they're saving their top lane, even though Altec has the freedom to pick Caitlyn if he likes.
This will be interesting. Will they go for that kind of matchup? Corki's a big champ he's played in the recent past, although Sivir vs Corki's a pretty fun matchup. You can kind of deal with that with spell shields. We'll see if that ends up being the pick anyway. 40 seconds to go still. They know it's casted in mid. They know it's going to be a blind pick top lane. Will it be Kha'Zix blind? Will it be maybe a Lee Sin against whatever, a Renekton blind, a Ryze blind. Like, Inox has a lot to choose from, to be completely honest here. How deep does the champion pool go? What does he want to pick here?
I'm just mesmerized by the age difference here of Crepo and Altec.
Yeah?
He is truly the youngest player in the LCS here. It's so different not seeing Pete sitting right behind Crepo, or beside Crepo. 3 years those guys were together, now their second game in the LCS.
Interesting. So Vi comes out for Snoopy for hardcore engage and lockdown. That is going to make Link's life a little bit difficult. But if you get some really good lanterns, crazy stuff happens to Vi, and she's in the middle of your enemy team. Not the best champion to gank Sivir with, to be fair, but
yeah. Or even Kassadin. Kassadin's going to suck him in all the way through a lantern.
Yeah.
He's going to end up in the Nexus.
He's got teleport too. I'm just saying, it's possible.
Can you time that?
I think you have to go too far to
I think Vi goes
pull Vi away.
Yeah. Anyway, they get their last pick here in the top lane. Seraph. Will he pick a standard top laner to go up against the top lane Kha'Zix, or will he just end up going with something like Renekton?
Kha'Zix definitely going to be a late game scaler. They typically go for the carrying, and it's going to be Aurelia here for Seraph top lane. Interesting one on this.
Well, we did just see the OGN finals last night. If any of you were awake for it, that are currently viewing right now, there was a decent amount of Aurelia in that one. One matchup was Aurelia versus Lulu. This time, Seraph, Korean top laner COD assigned, tries to break out the Aurelia against Kha'Zix. Should be an interesting one.
You figure he'd learn notes from Save anyway, being in the same team as the guy. Like,
yeah.
Gotta feel like you're gonna share some champ pools in that case. If you want to be a substitute, you might as well know the same champ so you can pull the same strats. But Aurelia Kha'Zix top lane, not one I think is very common, but we'll see what plays out. As the match begins, let's total up the votes online and see which team you guys have picked. According to LOLesports.com, 88% of you think that CLG are gonna take the win. But you can keep updating your vote throughout the game by sending either hashtag EGWin or hashtag CLGWin to @LOLesports on Twitter. Actually, it's interesting because today has been full of largely one-sided online votes.
Yes. Well, when you're looking at the schedule, it did look like it was a game of one-sided games.
True.
The Dignitas upset we just saw was the biggest one.
Still one-sided, though.
Yeah. And the other games necessarily weren't that one-sided. We had a lot of close games, a lot of long games to start the day. CLG, I feel like they're going to be a little bit angry after this one.
Yeah.
Especially since acquiring Dexter. When CLG has gotten a loss that they shouldn't have necessarily gotten, and they have a weaker team with their next matchup, they have generally crushed them very quickly and mercilessly. So I think CLG is going to be coming out with a lot of aggression, unless they're going to dial it back a little bit, because the aggression is actually kind of what got them hurt against LMQ. They made some very bold calls, going for Baron 18 minutes in, and maybe they need to dial it back. We get to see if it's an angry CLG or like a defeated, sad CLG that has to play more.
Like a passive-aggressive CLG. It's like, we're going to win this game. We're going to make you suffer through it. Going to go for that one. The twisted CLG, maybe that's going to be the case here, but we're getting ourselves onto the Rift. The fans are ready. I am ready. You guys at home certainly are ready because you're watching the stream right now. 15 seconds in. Evil Genius is leaving their base on the blue side. Neon Strike Vi pulling up the rear. Inox leading the charge there. Doran's Blade opening. A lot of damage potential for both these top laners. EG still 5 strong. Not a normal setup, actually.
Definitely not. EG did the identical level 1 strategy in 2 of their games that they're on red side. What's their blue side strategy?
Walking into the brush and getting spotted by the Voltal Spiraling. Nice check there by Dexter. So, time for plan B for Evil Geniuses.
I think it's interesting that Bobelter started with a Crystalline Flask against Kassadin, who he should generally been bullying a little bit early, whereas Link started with the Doran's Ring. Maybe the Kassadin is actually, I mean, I guess with the Q poke, he could actually outduel Bobelter early, and he's going to need that sustain from all the free Qs that Kassadin's going to get.
Level 1 base damage of the Kassadin are not pretty bad, actually. It's the rank ups that get a lot lower, so. Ooh, the early Trinket Ward down over across the wall.
They're scouting for lanes.
Yeah, they are. Can EG find the matchup they're looking for? Right now, though, CLG, all of them attacking into the blue buff. So they're all over on the western side of the map. They put their own Trinket Wards down looking for the right matchups.
Minions have spawned.
See CLG waiting around in this brush. Ping's coming out.
This is a nice brush.
EG going back to mid.
COD's waiting in. They won't know COD's there.
They have Corki.
Yeah, they could potentially scout with the Foss Bomb, but that would put them in range of a Thresh Hook. could.
Oh my gosh.
Wow.
Inox nearly got himself killed, but EG now know about this. The chain's gonna land. Dexter's got a flash, but
wow.
it stays on him. The binding, the spiderlings were in the way, and Dexter's gonna get away from this one, but will they go for round 2?
Yeah, Crepo couldn't throw the hook through, but he gets hooked out too!
He stays too far, takes a bunch of damage. Summoner Heal is burned, but now EG are forced to run away. Alltech down to half HP. Inox low as well. Phospho Bomb reveals CLG.
How long are they going to spend on this blue buff, and who's going to end up getting it? Because both teams are actually pretty low with some ward control. And there are mid laners farming lanes. Another hook!
He catches onto Alltech, forced to flash. He pulls Afro move in, but Inox is now low. The re-engage on the side. Afro is burning down right now. He will survive the ignite. CLG now forced back, binding now on the double lift. Another Q coming out. These guys are running out of mana at this point.
Someone's got to stop doing this at some point, because how long can they stay on this blue buff? No one is going to lanes. Inox does have teleport. He might actually go back and teleport back in, depending on which lane he wants to go to.
He's going to go for the recall now and head, I'm guessing, bot lane at this point. There's the pings. CLG have sent their dual lane up to the top. Looks like EG are going to be forced to do the same, and Inox TPing with some new potions. Looks like 5 of them. Down to the bot lane, Snoopy's got to be careful. His team has forsaken him. And CLG now in control of this part of the map.
This is absolutely ridiculous, Freak. They have been on this blue buff. It is now 3 minutes and 20 seconds into the game, and they're still fighting over it. 80 carries finally going to lane. Now the support's the last remaining fighters.
And keep in mind, Seraph now, he's not gotten to the bot lane yet. Inox has been there for a couple of waves now. He's starting to get an early golden XP lead, and it's actually freezing in towards him. Seraph is going to have to break this.
Meanwhile, at blue buff, Aframu, the only person invading right now. No one going for the blue buff. Dexter's already went back for red. That last fake up by Aframu could be great for getting back into this game. Well, the blue buff at 4 minutes.
And the trinket wards are coming back up now, so Crepo can put a ward on the river in a couple of seconds to help secure this, but looks like at this point EG are finally safe. Dexter with the smite. I mean, grab this.
Can Snoopy even do it at this point? He's at half health coming into this. He does have smite, but it's actually going to be a pretty close fight.
Yeah. Q start Vi is not super high damage.
You can't do it.
Massive backup. Snoopy's got to have a really hard time with this one. 200 health left. Oh, the buff tethers. No. Snoopy's not going to get this without help.
He is in so much trouble. Link might kill him if he's trying to stick around until the end here. He could just flash ignite him.
Okay, he gets his smite down just in time. 390 damage. Snoopy's level 2.
All right, battle of the blue buff has been victorious, but all the meanwhile, because it was on a ward, Dexter is counter jungling him. CLG coming out, the victors in the blue buff battle of 2014.
It's gonna be there. As we go, Dexter will finish off the rest of this camp to get the timer. 9:45, the respawn of this one. Same for EG's blue buff. So both those going back at the same time. They actually might cross paths soon at the Wraith camp. Dexter taking that one down. Will he lay a trap for Snoopy? No, Snoopy's gonna recall.
All right, this is so interesting because of all the different lanes that are getting affected. Let's pull both the dashes away. Oh, whoa! Sneaky moves.
Good damage down. Dexter at 250. He's gonna have to recall back soon.
Because of the time spent at the blue buff, it was varying for every role of the teams. Doublelift went to lane before Alltech, so therefore he is ahead. But Seraph went to lane later than Inox, so Inox has an edge on there. It's the teams playing to their strengths. Even if Seraph doesn't do well in this game, it's because the team kind of forsaken him early on in favor of Doublelift.
No mana now on Dexter. He does get away towards the white camp, but can he keep himself safe? Pope Elter gonna make his way back to the lane. Seraph running interference, keeping his teammate alive. But this is a Seraph that's 2 levels down on Inox right now. This lane, the Forsaken lane actually, is gonna hurt him a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, 2 levels against a Kazakhstan lane on Aurelia who needs to have some early levels to be able to hold their own. 1 point in every spell is all he's been able to muster. Luckily, there's no backup because obviously both junglers are completely experienced tonight in this game to create any type of dive, and he should be able to turtle out at least a few levels.
Okay, well, here we go. Now 4-5. We're gonna see if this one can keep going well for CLG Seraph. Snoopy now level 3, only on 1 buff. Looks like Dexter will now grab his 3rd. Refreshing the blue buff, the buff he stole not too long ago. Spiderling staff, but there's a smite, and he's going to be almost level 4 at the continuance, or at the conclusion of this camp.
Crazy that the first blue buff was taken in 6 minutes and 30 seconds. Usually you get the second one a minute from now.
Yeah. Well, it's going to be 5 minutes from now, guys. Evil Genius's Inox soon to hit level 6, so you can win a trade when that level happens. Get anything out of that one right now. Seraph still on the back foot. 23 to 30 second minions right there. Lands the stun. Gonna take a lot of damage on the back foot though. Seraph, maybe not the trade he wanted. 200 health left, all for caster minion.
Yeah, definitely not worth that one. He uses his final mana potion to maybe help out with some spell usage if Inox decides to dive him. Dexter also having to wait around in case of a dive. It's a big distraction for CLG now.
The lane, though, it's a good number of minions. EG Inox now not in the correct spot, though this could be very dangerous. He's level 6, though, has the evolved stealth. There's Seraphine, goes for the stun. Dexter, he's gonna have to do what he can with this one. Pink ward comes down, the trade comes in. Inox, though, he's gotta be careful. A lot of health lost, jumping away, though, one more hit, and first blood goes to Seraph. Well played, CLG.
Wow, what a bait they were able to pull off right there. Seraph life leached enough up with his potions as well. And then Dexter shopping with so many wards allowed him to gank that level 6 lane. So much foresight and then execution by CLG to give themselves an actual pretty big early edge.
There we go. It's going to be a 1,200 gold lead to counter Logic Gaming. Altec and Crepo forced under the turret, 37 to 60 in minions. Big damage. Altec, one hit from dead, forced to flash away with Summoner heal. He'll survive this, but Crepo, he's in a 1v2.
Just to talk about how big that Seraph kill was as well. That's the only lane that needed help. Doublelift and Afro are going to be fine. They're so good already, and they made it to lane early, so they're not going to lose that matchup. Seraph was the only one going to lose because he was there late.
Yeah, Belgium's got to be careful. Link, Dexter going to go in, the flash in, high damage. That's going to be another kill coming in. Dexter gets the credit. 2-0 CLG.
Dexter helping where he can as well. Denied on experience, but made very good ganks. And now he's level 6. He's completely back in the game. Great job.
Absolutely phenomenal by the individual members of CLG down the line, turning everything back. So Doublelift, Aframu, they forced the recall back from Altec. A double Doran's Vamp Scepter for him as he makes his way back into lane. CLG going to get their own recall, but with 72 minions here on Sivir, got a lot to go for.
Yeah, Sivir's not the type of AD carry who normally has the big lane advantage, but because of the level advantage that they were able to give Doublelift, he's been able to press that edge. He also probably wants to wait a bit until he can get a BF sword straight up and then really take over. So 1,260 gold on Doublelift as of now. A couple more waves and they might want to go.
You can usually gauge about 100 gold per wave. It's the general estimation.
You're going to get a bit more on it.
Sure. But it's like ambient gold, maybe with a couple CS. Yeah, see? There you go.
Can't gauge it all the time.
There you go. Well, it's going to be the last hit here for Altec. Yeah, 42 gold, +1 for Crepo. Nice spell shield there. You can see, again, the damage is not even possible. I like the Sivir against Morgana. It's working.
Yeah, Doublelift, as long as he can maintain vision on Morgana. That's one thing you want to do against her, is actually shove her in as much as possible in the lane. It makes it way easier to dodge and avoid her bindings because she can't shoot them through the minions.
Look at this. Dexter, though, he kept timing on this red buff that he stole. Puts a ward down to secure himself. Actually, there's one right above as well, so there's no way he's getting stopped. Trinket ward comes over the wall, but Poelter's a little bit late. Inox, though, shows up. Dexter's got to be careful. Can he jump the dragon, keep himself safe? Will Link and Seraph be enough, though? Big damage comes in. Elise forced away, and now comes the re-engage. Inox is low, but here comes Snoopy. Seraph will fall to 1-for-1, though. Dexter sends the parting gift as he gets away. Link, though, his ulti available soon, puts a spell shield onto himself, jumps the wall, gets away safely.
Just barely enough range to jump that wall as well. They got collapsed on pretty hard there, and both top laners end up giving their life. Not a huge overall trade. They're looking to dive down here, though.
Big damage and Altec. He's got to be careful. No summoners up whatsoever. Damage comes out, and the Q lands the fadeaway boomerang. Crepo now stuck level 6, puts the ulti down. The box going to be traded back and forth. Spell shields come out. He flashes, he binds. Summoner spell, heal used, but there comes Inox to turn one back around.
That was still a pretty awesome play by Doublelift from Aframu. Throwing out the first half of the boomerang, grabbing the lantern as it comes back. It's like drawing a triangle with his boomerang and his body together. Let's look at this one more time. 2 people diving level 6 on level 5s is a very aggressive move. They start the tower tank, get out of the tower tank, and then just wreck him with that boomerang blade. Unfortunately, there was a teleport in to come in and finish off afterwards, but they got the BF sword and the kill on a Doublelift, which is really what matters.
And look how little damage Popo just dealt to Link right there. That was basically a full combo that was blocked by mostly just the spell shield Q of Kassadin. That pick's working great.
And it's a pretty defensive build by Link as well. He's actually built a null magic mantle. You add that to the fact that Kassadin just naturally takes 15% less damage from magic damage, and he's going to be very tough for Poelter to assassinate.
You can see him pushing in now. 12 minion lead. The minion clear going back and forth, working pretty nicely for Link overall. 10 CS after this wave, level 9 now on him, so the maxed out Q is there. 2 points in Force Pulse. Snoopy going for the early Dragon attempt, but let's see how good their control is right now. They're pushing in for a pretty hard double. Will solo the top lane. Looks like CLG will not contest the Dragon. They do get a turret for it.
Good call there by EG to be able to get the Dragon. They were going to lose the turret anyway, and now if they can get a blue buff afterwards, it becomes even better. As long as they don't lose a mid turret or give too much free farm to double lift over in the other lane.
It's going to be the smite from Snoopy to secure it, though. That does mean there's, I believe, actually I'm trying to think about if Pobother has a blue buff right now. I don't think he does, because I don't, oh he does, okay. There we go, has it for half. So they did secure that for themselves. So buffs are starting to go a little bit more EG's way, but they haven't found a whole lot really under control. They got a Dragon, but they traded for it.
Yeah.
They've had very few unanswered advantages.
But unfortunately, it's a 2.7 thousand gold lead for CLG, and they haven't really turned it on yet. We saw the previous Cassin, when he had level 16, he really started going. And CLG does have a lot of control and move speed with this composition as well. The Sivir plus the Cassidon, even the Elise and Thresh with the combos is not the same as the Elise Morgana combo stun-wise, but it's still really darn effective. Now they're pushing for strong up the mid lane.
Finding dodge by Aphromoo. Didn't even flinch, just kept walking downwards. Knew he juked it. Snoopy going to dodge away from the hook as well, but this is going to mean mid-turn taking a bunch of damage. Engage in from Snoopy, but the team is still going to be safe. Dives in anyway, double lift. Big damage there, takes a whole bunch of pain and gets taken out by Inox. Does not click the lantern, and Aphromoo left empty-handed.
That was CLG thinking they could finish the turret when they really didn't have enough damage. Double lift shaking his head after that one because it was a bit of a big mistake. Greeding for the turret. CLG can't be as greedy in this one. EG, that's basically how they've almost won games. They almost beat Dignitas because Dignitas went a little too aggressive. CLG went a little too aggressive there.
Okay, so 1 kill back, mid-turret just barely standing. Look for this one though, big damage and all the he's forced away. Pobother has to answer back, get some damage on Aphromoo. It's gonna be these guys running back away one more time. And now it's gonna be the Wraiths taken up here pretty securely by Dexter. This bot lane fight as well, Inox versus Seraph. I gotta keep track of early kills and deaths, definitely going Seraph's way. I think he's, not falling over. He's turned the lane around. He's also got a CS lead.
Yeah.
Now, despite the early downfall.
But Inox was able to teleport into that top lane and pick up just a back end kill almost. He didn't earn much of it. And then Seraph did finish his turret there.
Yeah.
They're not ending up fighting each other too often. It's really going to be about how much farm the team is willing to allow them in the side lanes. Normally for CLG, you'd see double lift up there taking that farm, but they need him in the mid lane. Take down that one shot.
Link just trolled double lift there. It's like, even that lane, you didn't click, you don't even have one now. Double lift once again, sad, but the turret does go down, so CLG, kill score is close, but they've found better places to go on the map. All 3 outer turrets for them. Definitely a big part of the fact that they're up 2,500 gold. That's basically exactly what you get from 3 outer turrets. It's very close to that mark, so.
Yeah.
They've answered for the Dragon by other means, and their gold lead is their turret so far.
80 carry farm still very much in the side of double lift as well. The Twitter vote heavily trending towards CLG.
I think those are the exact same numbers. I think they were both 88%, so. Never mind. Well, after 3 turrets down, yeah, different numbers.
Oh, they want to go for an assassination on the Blanco. Rather tough target. He was hoping to draw out aggression from Pobother there with the shift in, but Pobother wasn't biting.
Level 10 to level 10 on these guys. Pretty far from rank 2 ulti for Belter. Have to take some time on this one. Link gonna wait for his power spike as well a little bit. Dexter's coming down though. This is a 2-on-1. LeBlanc does not know about this. He went down around the wards. And there goes Link in for the slow, but there comes Snoopy to counter gank. It isn't gonna be enough there. The teleport's in as well. From the top laners, Link taking gigantic damage. Will he fall? Oh, he jukes away and gets out. And here comes the cavalry, CLG. Showing up for more. Snoopy will go down. Only 1 man left alive. That is Inox. He's got nothing to do. Box comes out just to keep the bug caged up. This will be 1 more double lift. Stays alive and claims the kill. 7-3 CLG.
Baits on top of baits right there. Both mid laners trying to get each other to commit, and then it was just about how well the backup arrived. And it was CLG. You can see everyone on the map moving towards there, so it was a 2v2. And they only had to wait for them to arrive because they were going to beat them to the spot. Teleports used on exactly the same time, very close to each other, so they cancel each other out, and it was just about Link barely outplaying the 2v2 with himself and Dexter. And then the backup just cleans things up. 3 kills, 4-0, CLG in control.
Wonderful job by these guys. So, yeah, Inox eventually dies off. He tries to get Aphromoo, but support player plays it right, going for the tanky early build, rushing the face of the mountain, keeps him healthy pretty well. W1D2 will be adding the Last Whisper to his build, so very caster-centric build on this one, but he's up almost a full item over Altec. And that is pretty important because Altec was really one of the only bright spots for EG in their close game against Dig earlier today. Both the other one there. And, you know, W1D2, none of those guys are really putting up the great performance they need.
Yeah, 4,000 gold as well. Link picking up enough assists, creating kills where he can. Will turn into a late game powerhouse. If he gets there, hits level 16, gets a 3-second cooldown on his ultimate. Those are all very important things. But another blue buff steal by EG. Seraph's going to have to make his way down before Dragon.
Yeah, wards are down, though. EG really want this one, but CLG in the vicinity. No teleport from Seraph. Exactly, 5v4. How good's the smite? Looks like it's picked up by Snoopy there in this one. There comes a dive on in. 1 kill picked up. Dexter forced away. And now the chase on in. Morgana, he will catch W1D2 as well. Down goes Sivir. 2 for 0 EG.
Really bad call by CLG to try to contest that. They knew it was a 5v4. And then when Dexter used his Q in aggressively, he's basically just daring to get caught by binding. If he does, the team loses the fight straight up. They just don't have enough people here. If you're going to try and smite steal, he needs to do it from farther back. He fully committed for it. Spiderlings did not block the binding. And then EG knew they could all dive in as relentlessly as possible because there was no backup. Because they got kills as well, they can get the Dragon and very well come close to evening out this game. CLG might try to stop it though. Seraph for full health.
Dexter's not around though. It's another 4v5 hook on a Crepo. Smite comes in for Snoopy. CLG wisely actually back away this time. But Pobelter will land the chain onto Seraph. Tries to keep out of range as best he can. Damage comes in. Ulti chain bind as well. But here comes Dexter. Double lift in the wing soon as well. Link goes back in. They know he's got backup. Pobelter, he's got to be careful. Good play. It's the flash from Belter. Jumps away. Link can't quite get in range. The clone goes down. EG still trying to run. Cocoon. Wow. Out of range, but Black Shield just to secure it. EG back away with the Dragon.
They barely escaped that one. So many chains from Pobelter. Now, what can CLG take off the back of that one? It doesn't actually seem like much because their minion wave, at least where W1D2 just went, was already pushed in. EG hasn't been doing that great early on in the game, but their mid-game movements, especially today, hasn't resulted in victory yet. They're definitely making some good calls, though.
Down to 2,000 gold. They're still down 3 turrets, and they kept the game within 2,000 gold. So they're finding fights, they're finding the right moves. CLG making the suspect calls that are allowing these, though. EG going for what the advantages are, CLG giving them more when they go for it. You're going to see now the wave through coming in. EG are going to hold that one. Altec going to be given some of the farm. He is rather far behind, though. When I watched Altec during the promo tournament, he was off split pushing, getting gigantic gold leads most of the game for himself to transition into team fights. He's 124 minions at 20 minutes, a very low mark.
This is a difficult thing about sometimes players joining new teams is there's only so much farm on the map in any given game. And teams generally need to decide who they give that farm to. Inox is a carry top lane player for EG. So in this game and in most games, he is taking those free lanes that Altec would otherwise need to take. If they split themselves up 1-3-1, then they become actually very weak to initiations from the Sivir and the Kassadin, which is difficult in this game, which is why Altec hasn't really had much time apart from the rest of his team to try and pick up farm. It's a difficult situation that they're in, but it's what they got to do.
Lane's down a full item because of it. Last Whisper compared to not there across the AD carries. Pretty big deal. Link making his way back down to the bottom lane. Looks like he can play as a primary split pusher and get away with it pretty securely. They're not nearly as afraid of getting initiated on, though Snoopy has Vi, so they should be very aware of this. We'll see.
And if he tanks up on Vi, it's going to be pretty scary as well.
He's trying.
There's not a huge amount of damage for trying to retaliate if they can get enough people on top of double lift.
Yeah, CLG's, I guess aside from Sivir, fairly single target focused.
Yeah.
And it's pretty targeted as well, like you click on the guy, so it's not like Snoopy will tank skill shots. He can largely get ignored. Ulti in on a Seraphim. They have the damage. Engage comes in from Inox as well. The ulti's being popped. Flash forced away. Now can the Q land from Snoopy? The flash Q is going to land the flash in from Inox. He will secure the kill with the passive.
They both flashed in for that one, and CLG again going hard for a turret. This time they get it, and Double Lift gets away, but it cost them a kill.
And it cost Crepo his ultimate at the bottom side of that one. The Lantern getting him away easily. Altec battling Link, and Link barely caring about this. Look how far back this Corki's forced to play. CLG now putting the members over here. Inox still top lane, so 4v4 for this turret.
CLG heavily objective focused. Inox stays up top to get the one down, but CLG really wants more because they're down Seraph and they're threatening the teleport from Inox. They have to fall away.
Okay, Sivir ulti is popped and CLG try to disengage. Looks like they do that successfully. Now, of course, Seraph has his teleport. Inox doesn't for 5 minutes. CLG can outplay the map because of this.
Yeah, CLG is going to need to get some ward control up. They have the 3 sweepers and a lot of wards down right now. They need to make sure that they have control over the next dragon if they want to start pulling ahead, because they had a much bigger lead than this before they started getting a little bit outplayed map-wise by EG.
Wow, big damage though in from Link. Pobota's got to be very afraid. Dashes doubly to get away. He will be safe. One wouldn't have done it.
I mean, with this acquisition of Seraph as well, Freak, we were wondering how CLG is going to do. Even Crepo, in the pregame, we saw that video feature where he said he thinks Seraph will be good for CLG in the long run.
Yeah.
But not necessarily right now, because just trying to work as a team, especially with the teleport top laner, having to make so many big decisions. How long is it going to take for that to really hash out? Evil Geniuses, obviously with Altec, wants to improve this split, but they're not considered a top team in the LCS, and CLG wants to be a top team. They need to be able to make short work of teams like EG if they want to make it to Worlds.
Well, 22 minutes, 53 seconds in. Still a fairly close game within 2,000 gold. CLG have successfully secured farm as a lead for pretty much every single role on the map. Gotta look out for the blue of getting taken away very securely. EG, keep that.
And look at this. This is another time their blue buff gets invaded for CLG when Seraph isn't there. Seraph was completely on the other side of the map. Yes, he wanted to get the lane shoving, but they lost control of the map once again because he's trying to get some of his farm back up. They can't let that happen in future blue buff invades.
Well, it's going to let that one go there for now, and the other blue buff will go to EG on the left side of the map, so very similar times, and Snoopy will get this one for himself. To keep that gold flowing up. Level 12 on the jungle because he's part of so many buff trades. He's a level up on Dexter, who started the game out 3-1-3. Snoopy's 2-1-3. He's doing just fine for himself, making the plays. 1 kill down. CLG, they'll maybe look for the next turret to kill. They've got 4 so far, but that's where their gold's coming from. And if that dries up, I don't know what they're going to be doing for advantages.
This next dragon is going to tell us so much. Snoopy needs about 200 gold before he can complete his Randwins, and that would be massive because he's going to be the one diving on double lift, and he needs that to be able to duel him. Otherwise, I feel like CLG can collapse back, kind of kill the one tank on EG, and then move through the rest of their lineup. But it all depends on whether CLG actually gets to set up for a dragon. At the moment, they are preparing for this one, something they didn't do for the previous dragons. They're trying to take shots.
Okay, well, Dragon's up in 3 seconds. The red buff, second time in a row, got stolen here by CLG, so they do go 2 for 2 on buffs for what it's worth. And I believe it's a red buff Seraph, so he's going to be a terror on that back line. Frost Queen's claim done for Crepo, Face the Mountain done for Aframu. We're going to set up for the fight there. Dragon at 2/3, EG coming in force. Push CLG away, Lantern over the wall is going to pull double lift in.
CLG wants to try and stay together as a unit here. If they start splitting up, they get isolated, they get picked off by the LeBlanc, Kha'Zix, and Vi. If they stay strong, though, and have one person flanking in Link, that's the best team fight formation for CLG right now.
Okay, well, EG's still trying to control Dragon. CLG tried for a second to push the bottom lane down, but they immediately pulled Link back in. But they've got the ability to push lanes in for the most part. They've got the inside track on that tier 2 bot. They could trade if they wanted to, but they want to fight for Dragon. They don't want to just trade objectives. EG looking more aggressive.
It's a bit of a skill shot war, too, if a Dark Binding can land or if Cocoon can land. But EG doesn't actually want to burn their Dark Bindings too early because that could mean they get dove on very quickly and have no way to retaliate. So Crepo was actually holding on to his spells and just poking with Tormented Soil, surprisingly.
Interesting stuff indeed. Now Pobota trades his ulti for the spell shield of double lift. That's going to be a long early cooldown. They'll come up at similar times. Snoopy looks maybe for the engage. Link has gone down to push the bottom lane. CLG still not really getting anything for this except some extra farm on Link. EG try one more time for Dragon. It's actually losing some health this time. Double lift. Ooh. The poke on a Vi down to 2/3. Link again was shoving. Level 14 on him to the 12 of Pobelter.
A lot of poke down onto Snoopy from double lift. There's been a lot of dancing around objectives from the start of this game up until now. The first one they danced for about 2 minutes. How long will they dance here? Double lift. Great boomerang blades.
And it's now less than 1 minute on Inox TP. If EG wants to randomly run up for the mid lane or the top lane or something, looks like they are going to back off. Link secures bottom tier 2 turret for the Dragon Dance. Nothing lost by the team, everything to gain. EG disengage.
Yeah, that was really smart by CLG. They knew they had the stronger team fight, so they were able to hold strong with the 4 versus the 5 and still not get engaged upon. They would win this base race if they go for it. EG is in a whole world of pain right now.
EG's going to trade Baron for this inhibitor right here. Look at this, they're diving for it, but CLG could get so much more than just an inhib. They're not stopping. Inhibitor turret will go down. Now inhibitor
Seriously.
Under fire.
Do they know how fast they push? They could get the game if they keep this up, and if Seraph can interrupt. He's going to try to interrupt with his ultimate on Aurelia.
He TPs in. The Baron's still being hit a little bit. Inox, Cobalt, they're trying to get away. CLG still pushing it for the base. 27 minutes in. They've got turret number 1. Cobelter comes in. 4 men strong for the Nexus. Dexter gonna jump into the air. Turret number 2 is gone. No one's there to defend. It's just Cobelter. He's pushed away. The Nexus taking damage. They're still trying. Inox in the mix, but it's down to 1/3. Can they keep it going? Link is trying. Channeling his inner Peke. It's 1 hit from dead. It's gonna be the Nexus, and CLG win the game.
What? That was just a great call by CLG, but a really bad call by Evil Geniuses.
Yeah.
Baron for inhibitor is a trade you can do.
Baron for
your
Nexus.
No. A total miscalculation by EG of CLG's pushing damage potential at that point in the game. I mean, yes, CLG made the right call, but what a weird way to win.
Yeah.
The game itself was very close. They just made a good rotational call. They went straight down the bottom lane, ripped out all the turrets, and EG really overvalued Baron.
And Superhero Seraph as well, teleporting into the 1v5 at Baron just to stop recalls. He died for it. That's a death where you say worth it in all chat.
Yeah, that is absolutely what they wanted to do. I mean, the scores look very uninspiring in this game because it actually ended without conflict. You almost never see that. That was actually a base backdoor, if you actually consider it that way. I mean, sure, they had the minions, but someone was doing Baron. What a weird way to win for CLG and close it.
They kicked in the front door and no one was home. It was a robbery in the literal sense in that case, but